If I were a rich man, bubby dubby dubby dibby dibby dubby dubby dum. I used to be a rich man before we went to Poland, and my wife found Polish pottery.
Well, what is today about? Today's about greed and excess and humiliation.
And lust.
Oh, you wouldn't have to work hard.
Dibby 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 dubby dibby dibby dubby dibby dibby dubby dibby dibby dubby dum. Make you move. Make you move. Make you move. Make you move.
Make a move! Say yes! Say yes!
Hi everyone, welcome to Learning Brave. I'm Skylar,
And I'm Ross.
and today we are sharing with you my most embarrassing story. It's in Poland. And Poland is an incredible country. We spent a month there, living in the middle of the forest.
And our beautiful little green, it was blue. Was it our blue little?
We had a little cottage
little
in the
blue
woods.
cottage.
In the name of Brene Brown. Just going to lay it all out there. Get vulnerable.
It's time to get vulnerable, everyone. Skylar's getting vulnerable today.
I am. It's so embarrassing. Okay. I love beautiful things. And I've never cared about pottery before. I've cared a lot about way too many earrings and way too many shoes and paints and colours. And I just love colour and beautiful things.
But who cares? No big deal. I want more.
That is true.
Fabric.
True.
I've had fabric issues throughout my life.
We happen to have half of our 20-foot container full of fabric.
Yes.
But that's another story.
Yes, so I know that about myself, but I did not know I loved pottery. I didn't really care. Plates, who cares? Until we were in Germany. We just arrived and we were invited to eat dinner with a lovely family in Munich. And they'd served the dinner, and as I was eating, I was like becoming aware of the beauty underneath our food. And as we're eating, I was like, what are we eating off? It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Like the colours were these bright, gorgeous blue, and it was just gorgeous. And our host told us about Polish pottery. It was the first time I'd ever heard about it.
That's where it all began, everybody.
Yeah, so she told me it's a thing, and like expats love Polish pottery and they collect it. And she was telling me stories about how she went to Poland to collect it. And I
Yeah,
was
like often they'd have like
interesting.
these group of mums that'd be like, let's do a road trip to Poland to buy Polish pottery.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it, but I mean, it was gorgeous. And then not long after, we visited our American friend in the Netherlands. And again, she had a Polish pottery collection.
You are not an expat in Europe if you don't own Polish pottery.
It's true, it's a thing. And it's so beautiful. And I was like, Polish pottery, I know what this is. It's gorgeous. And she was telling me stories about how, she and some friends had hired a van and they'd driven across the country and across Germany and into Poland, filled the van with Polish pottery,
Back again.
driven it home.
Love it.
And I was like, interesting.
I pretended that I didn't hear any of it, and I hoped that she'd forgotten about it.
And then
Unfortunately, like 4 or 5 months later,
fate blessed our lives and took us to Poland. And not any place in Poland, we only lived 1 hour away from the motherland, the heart of Polish pottery. It's called Bolesławiec. Probably butchering that. It's called Bolesławiec, and it's the home of Polish pottery. It's where all the factories are and all these different manufacturers. It's amazing. So I knew it was there, and we were living in our cottage, and I was like, I need to see this town. Just check it out.
so I think from memory, your friend flew from Amsterdam to Prague and then drove up into southern Poland to meet us, and then they went on a girls' weekend.
And it changed my life.
Changed mine too.
We had the best time. it's an art form. Like, we went to this factory where they showed us the whole process, where you get to like feel the clay, and it's this special clay just from Poland, and they show how they fire it, and every piece is hand painted people.
True.
And all these ladies are like stamping and hand brushing these beautiful pieces, and they begin off as different colors, and once they're fired, the colors, like, they become really vibrant and these amazing blue colors, and they match, but they don't match, and it's amazing. So
they spent like 2 days going from factory to factory trying to cross off their shopping list of Polish pottery. Now, my wife's list was quite extensive. She decided that when we go back to Australia, she wanted to have a Polish pottery for every single thing in the kitchen. Am I wrong?
no, you're not wrong. But to be fair, like, they have everything you can imagine in Polish pottery.
Gravy dishes.
So, like, yeah, but like
muffin trays.
It extends past kitchen. It's like, if you can imagine it, you can buy it in Polish pottery. So, like toilet brush holders and like chicken-shaped dish lids to put over a chicken. Like,
Really?
Yes. The crazies, and you're just like bombarded with so many things, and you feel really sensible if you just buy a couple of hundred plates.
Yeah, a couple of 100 plates. Oh, you think we're exaggerating, don't you? We're not exaggerating
No,
here.
I mean, this was my reasoning. I was like, well, you have to eat off something anyway. Might as well be handcrafted artwork from Poland.
Well, these cashmere gloves I need, as it is winter, and I have hands.
So here I spent the weekend with my children, and my wife arrives home. My wife had boxes and bags and bags and boxes and bags of stuff in the car. I was like,
Of
oh
useful
my goodness.
dishes. I mean, I could have a strange obsession with something not useful.
Well, like cars,
Well, you can
handbags.
drive them. Handbags, yeah, like
watches. Oh, you have them. Shoes.
do not.
Oh, you have them as well.
Stamps.
Stamps. Oh my goodness! She's really scraping the barrel here. Oh man. Anyway, suffice to say,
no,
she
I feel
arrived
like I
home. She arrives home, and as she called all of her family together and said, "This is amazing, guys! I've got all this great stuff. Help me unpack it." I sat there and watched as package after package was unfurled, and she laid it out on the lounge room floor. We had a minivan that we could barely fit anything in. Like, we had to make room just to fit the 2 cuckoo clocks that we bought in the
Yeah.
Black Forest.
I'd already bought a cuckoo clock that pretty much sat on my lap while we drove around Europe.
And now she comes home with all these plates and baking tins and all sorts of crazy stuff. And I'm thinking, where are we going to put it all?
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
It's my motto in life.
It's a good motto.
Yes. But you skipped it. You skipped the joy.
Tell me about the joy.
The joy. So, me and my friend went to the place that you stay in Bolesławiec. It's called the Blue Beetroot, and it's adorable. It's like the place you stay, and they have the map, and they give you a map of the whole town and every manufacturer by number.
Really?
So yeah. So you can visit everyone, like there's like 30.
That's amazing.
ones.
Did you eat any borscht?
Yes, we had borscht for breakfast. No, I don't know.
Yum.
They have a great restaurant there.
Did you have
And
some pierogies? Pierogies.
Yes, we did. And we did, in fact, go to every manufacturer.
No. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and we like, what you do is you like compare. So you're like, oh, I think I prefer Andy's butter dishes, but I like this one's plates. And you like compare, and they're all a bit different because they all have their own unique painting.
I'm
and
so glad
fire.
I stayed home with the kids. That would have driven me crazy.
So, yeah, I got a bit carried away. But this, again, in my defense, is before we lost all our money. So I thought we had money in our life. And I was like, I am being a bit excessive, but it's practical because in like my retirement, I will.
So it was an investment.
Yes.
It was an investment for your retirement.
Yes, in my retirement, I will eat all this lovely food off my lovely dishes.
True.
And I'll feel all this joy.
Okay.
And I'll share it. I'll like bake for others. I just went on and on and on about this amazing experience. And so I was like, my family needs to experience this too. So we made it happen. We
did.
piled all the kids in the car and we booked a tour for the kids. And we went to drive and we were just on time. But we ran into a roadblock.
We did.
An issue.
We did. We were nearly late for our Polish Pottery grand tour because we had wild horses on the road.
On the road, riding down the road.
I think they were there. They ran along the road for like, it was like 10 or 15 minutes. It was like, get off the road, horses. It was actually pretty cool though, to be in rural Poland and to be roadblocked by wild horses.
Well, we made it.
Random.
Just on time.
Random.
And the kids got to have the same experience. They got to touch the clay and see the whole process. It was super cool.
Kids, look what happened. What we have inside those bars is a special ceramic plate that will be transparent after final firing.
They got to paint.
Yes, and then at the end, they all got to paint their own Polish pottery dish. Everyone was a fan by the end.
Except for me.
And then I realised I'd missed a few essential items. So while we were there for the second time, I bought the most beautiful soup tureen with a matching ladle. I make a lot of soup. It was a very logical purchase.
Okay. So we've just set the scene.
Yeah.
We now have a lot of Polish pottery.
Yes.
And nowhere to fit it in our vehicle.
Yeah.
And so what was the solution? Post it home.
Post it home.
Post it home.
Yeah, no worries.
I was like, well, Poland is pretty cheap. Maybe the postage is cheap. So I did. I went and got some boxes, and my wife very carefully wrapped each item and put them in the boxes. I went down to the local post office with 4 huge boxes, and they were huge.
But before he took them, I did Google the word for fragile. I was worried that, like, a bit like they can get in the airport. They might go throwing my
True.
Polish pottery boxes. So the Polish word for fragile was crunchy.
With a K. K-R.
I just went with
U-N-C-H-Y.
it. So I wrote crunchy all over every side of the box.
So I went to the post office with my crunchy boxes.
That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
And my wife, she had done a good job at wrapping them. I went and got proper wrapping and bubble wrap, and we did everything we could. And I went and I had to fill out all this stuff. I don't know how I worked out how to post this stuff back to Australia when everything was in Polish. But I worked it out. I think actually I did some translating on the internet or something to get this. But I finally posted these boxes off, and I thought, yes, I'm a legend of a husband. I've just let her spend, well, I don't even know
Don't
how
tell
much.
him. Don't tell him.
Ridiculous amounts
Like, it
of
was an
money
investment for our retirement.
on Polish pottery and posted it back to Australia.
And I bought gifts. Wasn't just for myself.
True.
I made a whole box of gifts for my brother who'd just been married, and my sister, and like everyone
All the
I knew.
extended family. Now, if that's where the story ended,
would
be great.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the rest of the story, my love?
4 months later,
Yep.
we were in Italy, and my sister-in-law, who we had posted all our boxes to, wrote to us and let us know that they had arrived.
And they were truly crunchy. They were crunchy.
They look like they've been thrown off a 10-story building and stomped on by a truck. And then everything broke.
And everything was disaster.
It was devastating.
I can just see them now. The Australian baggage handlers going, oh, somebody's got a sense of humour. It's crunchy. Yeah, let's crunch it up, boys. Stomp, stomp.
Okay. The thing that did happen, all the boxes were broken except one, the one full of gifts.
Yeah, typical.
So I felt like the universe was telling me I'd been really greedy and learn a lesson. So I did actually give away all the gifts I intended.
I think the only ones we kept were like a few plates and then the ones that the kids had made.
Yeah, the kids one survived. We had a small set of plates and a few odd things, but all the big things had broken. I'd bought lasagna dishes and brownie pans and soup tureens
And
like
cupcake pans, what are they called?
they survived.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Wow.
So one day, if you ever visit me, I might be like, would you like a muffin? With my Polish pottery muffin pans.
Would you like a muffin?
Would you like a muffin?
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Yes, I know the Muffin Man.
I know you probably all might be amused and smiling. I wasn't very happy at the time that we'd wasted that money.
Hey, I have another thing to say in my defense.
What's that?
Polish pottery shards are beautiful too. So I intend to become a mosaic artist in my future.
In fact, you can actually buy them on eBay, can't you?
I'm not selling them. I'm keeping them all.
We have
As a
3
lesson.
boxes. We have 3 boxes of Polish pottery mosaics ready for you one day, babe.
Yes, it's a lesson to my life against greed. Skylar, be more moderate. Stop being so over the top.
Well, that's worked because you're not like that anymore.
No, now I feel like now if I went back, I would buy like 3 things instead of 35 things. So
135.
Oh my
things.
gosh. Thanks for joining us and for laughing at us. If you would like to know more, learningbrave.com has the whole embarrassing story written out for you with more photos and info. If you would like to go to Poland yourself to buy some Polish pottery, which I highly recommend, but I do not recommend posting it to Australia,
Do not post from Poland.
there is more info on my blog below. So thanks guys, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys. If I were a rich man. Dibby dabby dibby 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 dabby dabby day. If I were a rich man. Dabba dibba dabba 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 dibba dabba dum. Yabba dibba dibba dabba dabba dibba dabba dum. Dabba dibba. Okay, I can try that. Yabba dibba dabba dibba dibba. If I were a rich man. Yabba dibba dabba dibba dabba dibba dabba dum.